Hello all. I bought a little bench drill recently, a Scheppach DP50, so I thought I'd share my initial experience of it with you. Costing about £150, these aren't actually sold here in the UK, so this one I imported from Italy. I'll leave a link in the description for you. It's a digital drill with variable speed and an aluminium base. No heavy induction motor or cast iron base, part of the appeal for me. I'll give you an overview of the machine, some in-use stuff, and hopefully you'll stick around for my rant at the end. So the DP50s are the newer model of the older, squarer Scheppach DP40, which was also sold under the Parkside brand as the catchily named PBTM710A1. Oddly, the Parkside seemed to cost a little more, at around £200. Of course, all these are derivative or blatant budget copies of Bosch's PBD40 drill, which, spoiler, is a much more refined machine with a quieter motor and gearbox, better return spring, etc. But it does cost twice the price. So this being a European machine, it has a 2-pin plug that I have loads of adapters for, so no problem. As you can see, the machine does need some assembly, amounting to fixing the clamp, base and handle. Nothing too cerebral. Clamp's got to go onto the pillar first, then this can be mounted onto the base. There's 2 grub screws at the back of the base for fixing. There is a small locating nubbin on the pillar to give you roughly central alignment, but worth doing the grubs up lightly to start, then eyeing in the motor body to centre, then tightening up fully. The shaft for the handle has a cutaway to locate it and is just fixed in place with another grub screw. All the grubs can be tightened with the supplied Allen. And that's it. So let's have a look at the functions. At the top back left of the machine, a quick release lever allows you to set a depth stop. Works perfectly well, but there's no scale to work with it, just something you set on the fly. Below that, another quick release lever frees up the rack and pinion for setting the height of the drill head. Tighten back up, the return spring is engaged and movement limited by the depth stop. All pretty usual stuff. The chuck is a keyless type, seems reasonably well made with nicely machined jaws. The red ring releases to the right as we look at it, locks to the left. So at the front we get to play with the digital electricery. The button on the right of the display panel, held down, turns on the display. The button to the left of that turns the laser on and off, and you can see the word laser appear on the screen when on. The laser is pretty bright, even with the sun beaming into my garage. Hit the button again to turn it off. When the display is on, the power button also serves as a button to turn the light on and off, again denoted by the word light on screen. The button over on the left is to display speed or depth in millimeters. To the right of it, a button to 0 when in depth mode. The machine is sold as having a stroke of 90mm. I've moved the depth stop as high as it can go while still locking to check how much stroke the drill actually has. Looks like they were being conservative with the numbers to me. Looks good for around a 100mm drill stroke. Maximum chuck to base height is listed as 280mm by the way. So hitting the button on the left again returns us to speed mode. This can be dialed in via a knob just below the screen. I've got the machine set to high speed with the speed control knob set as low as it can go. As you can see, the speed range appears to take us from 490 RPM up to 2530. I've noticed a bit of lag in the speed sensor, but nothing to complain about on a budget machine. Using the toggle switch on the right of the machine, I switch from high speed to high torque mode to check the speed range. The dial set as low as it can go again to start. I've noticed the sensitivity of the speed dial seems to be good for increments of 10 to 20 RPM steps. In high torque, the speed range is 170 RPM to 860. If you just want to get to some drilling, no messing about with lights, lasers and depth readouts, you could turn the display off and still use the machine just using the main stop-start buttons and speed dial. Worth being aware of this, as when plugged in, the display may be off, but the machine itself isn't. Here I'm fitting a 30mm Forstner bit. Fitting is easy. Turn the red ring to release, open it up to your bit size, up to 13mm, then hand tighten and return the red ring to the lock position. Got a piece of scrap pine here for a test. I've pressed the point of the Forstner bit to see where the laser's at, and hopefully you can see that this one is near as damn it bang on. Happy with that. The supplied clamp is a kind of quick clamp. Moving the lever back lowers the feet to clamp the workpiece. I've found having the clamp about 5 to 10mm above the piece leaves room to apply good pressure to the clamp. It won't grip if you flush it to the piece and try to lock. So this is a little test of how accurate the digital depth readout is. To set a 0, I'm pressing the Forstner into the piece so the cutters on its circumference are just contacting the piece. Starting the machine, I intend to drill to 10mm. Let's see how we get on. There's a speed guide for material and bit size on the left side of the machine, so I'll go by that, around 500 RPM. Hit the button on the left again to return us from speed to depth. I'm taking it easy here as this is a test for accuracy, not how hard I can push the machine before stalling it. There we go, readout tells us that's 10mm. Let's see what the verniers tell us. 9.67mm. Tell you what, that's not bad. I repeated this and was within 1 to 3 tenths each time. That'll do me. Fairly clean hole from a dodgy old bit, but also the clamp marks either side. So the chuck needs a flat spanner to hold the spindle to unscrew. I didn't have the right size, so I knocked this up from a piece of scrap alley. In the manual, it only recommends fixing the chuck hand tight. It's opposite to spin rotation, so not an issue. I'm removing it because, as we'll see, I have a problem with play, and I'm checking it's not from the chuck but from the spindle. Badly focused here, but there is a small amount of play in the spindle. Gutted. I'm set up here to drill some alley fixing plates I'm making, the whole reason I bought this machine. As you can see, that little bit of play in the spindle, combined with the length of the chuck and my drill bit here, about 80mm from the chuck, translates to a good 1mm of play at the point. This is really disappointing. I have found that if I just kiss the alley with the drill bit to start, the play doesn't make the drill bit go walkabout. Bringing the pressure up slowly, I can still get a reasonably accurate hole. However, if I change the angle of the shot a bit, and this time come down straight away with more pressure on the bit, you should be able to see that the bit, due to the rotation and play, wanders off at the start to the left as you see it doing here. This is a 5.5mm bit in fairly soft 1050 grade alley. Now, I could return the machine and see if another didn't have this issue, but I've seen a couple of German reviewers show a degree of spindle play on these machines too, so likely it's just an issue on these budget machines. As I mentioned at the beginning, I imported this from Italy, so it's not like I'll be returning the machine. It just costs too much. So voiding warranty not really an issue for me then, I open up the machine to see if anything can be done. To my surprise, it looks a fairly well assembled machine inside. I'm glad to see it actually does have a balancing bearing on the drive shaft, just not a precision one. I don't really fancy stripping this down so early in our relationship, so I'll just use it as is for now. Now I haven't exactly been beasting this machine, but I have found the 710 watt motor fairly capable. Its gearbox does have an annoying angle grinder like sound though. I know the Bosch ones sound much smoother and quieter. So if I could just insert a rant to finish here, I'm quite willing to accept a budget machine as a basic machine. A bit less motor and gearbox refinement producing more noise for example is fine. But these machines have essentially one job, to drill straight down. So here's a groundbreaking idea for manufacturers of budget machines. How about you concentrate the limited budget for such machines on said machine's primary function first? In the case of this drill, that would mean, say, ditch the clamp, the laser, the light, and even the keyless chuck for a basic keyed one, and instead spend those few production dollars on a decent bearing to keep the drive spindle straight and true. No play. Don't get me wrong, I like the features on this machine. I actually enjoy using it, but I'd enjoy using it a hell of a lot more if there was no play. This is happening all too much these days, packing in gimmicks and widgets to budget items with their primary purpose seemingly a secondary consideration. With regards to this Scheppach DP50, it's turned what would otherwise be an absolutely brilliant little benchtop machine into a disappointment. I just wanted a basic, light drill with no belts and digital speed control, as I'm sure is the appeal to most who will buy these machines. They were so close with this machine. Whoever on the company board decided to pack gimmicks into the machine at the expense of reasonable drive components needs sacking. Budget shouldn't have to mean pony. Thanks for watching.